Show. Rock and roll pre-show. Well, if you're joining us right now, this show has yet to start. It's kind of the warm-up. We haven't done the national anthem, and no one's flipped a coin toss, but that's coming up shortly. So everyone enjoy. Strap in and enjoy. And we're going to banter back and forth as we get everything ready.
Or just sit here in silence.
Well, we can do that too.
Well, you stopped the conversation we were having before I told you that I was going to start the stream.
Well, what conversation were we having?
I don't even remember now.
Well, I guess it wasn't that important.
You sound like my mother.
I know that was entirely intentional.
Yeah.
It was a boring technical conversation about the way Zoom wants to hog your screen.
Right, we were griping about Zoom. That's what we were griping about.
And it's a technical conversation, which means everyone would have to drink. And, you know, we want to save their livers for right now. All right. And it's about this time that Mark shows up, everyone. So he comes running through the screen.
Right, so we'll have to tell Mark that we're
we're
live if he shows up here.
And this is also the time where I go, if Mark hasn't arrived, I go check the email to say, is he coming today?
And typically while you're doing that, he pops in. Hey, guys.
No, he's always, hello, everyone.
Yes. When what he should say is...
It's just going to be a total shit show, I think.
We have virtual Mark on standby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are 2 minutes and change out, so.
See, I like the way you tell me that when I control everything, and so we're really going off of my clock. So.
Well, yeah, but it should be the same clock.
Now I have 7:58.
So, what did you already have dinner?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you not see any of that upstairs?
No, I didn't. I didn't even go into the kitchen.
There was a whole pile of food there. But yeah, I was figuring Pugsley was going to eat most of it.
Well, but keep in mind, he probably isn't.
He's trying to maintain his girlish figure.
Mm-hmm. So as a pregame warm-up, I just want everyone to know, and this will show up again later, Illinois non-detainable offenses beginning January 1st, 2023. Aggravated battery, aggravated DUI, aggravated fleeing, arson, burglary, drug-induced homicide, intimidation, kidnapping, robbery, second-degree murder, and threatening a public official. You can't be put in jail and kept in jail for those offenses. And we wonder why Illinois is thriving like it is.
I have from good leftist sources that, everyone wants to live in the blue states.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so this will be tied into our third story, and I'll list that again, but that's just some fun stuff to talk when it's nearly 8 o'clock at night.
It is almost. We're getting there.
We are.
See, now it's all quiet because I play music before the podcast starts, but because,
I could sing.
YouTube is a bunch of people who can't see. You might say they cannot see. They're those kind of people. I can't play that. I had to stop the music when I started the stream. That's why we should. It's why we should move to Odyssey.
Wasting away again in modern Mayberry.
But I was playing like 90s alternative music.
You were, and it's 8 o'clock.
Oh my God! It's time to start the show.
Rock and roll.
Bants and Bants. Bants and Bants.
All systems go.
Bants and Bants.
Defiance.
Bants and Bants.
This rebel has a cause.
Bombs and Bants.
We begin as wanderers, and we are wanderers still.
Welcome, everyone, to the 75th live edition of Bombs and Bants and Wednesday Rants. As always, I'm your humble and dedicated host, John Wilder, coming to you from an undisclosed location hidden deep beneath the surface of the earth. Is Mark?
Mark
here?
just came screaming through the door. He
Yes,
probably does. There he
I
is.
am.
That sound you hear is the screen door slamming. Welcome, Mark.
Sorry about that. It's just
So with me as always is Mark and Mrs.
Hello. We'll give Mark a few minutes. He's probably a little out of breath.
Okay. So this is the 75th live edition. So that's the diamond anniversary. Is everybody else diamonds? That's
You just want me to sing John Denver again, don't you?
Yeah.
Some days are diamonds, some days are gold. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I know it's so
as bad as you are at singing, I'm worse. That's what kills me every time I hear you sing. So 75th anniversary. What did you guys get me?
You know what I got you? Okay, so I was downstairs where we do our podcast, and I hear some odd noises coming nearby, and I look up, and here is what I see. This is a picture of our fat dog, our fat diabetic dog, who has stolen out of the trash can, the dog food can, and has got his face stuffed into it, lying on a gigantic beanbag, which I think is just entirely a metaphor for his life.
There you go.
oh, funny.
So in the background, everyone will notice books. I gotta tell a little story.
And a cage. That's a cage in the background.
Well, we don't talk about the cage. Don't talk about cage.
It's the cage for the cats, the outdoor cats. When it gets cold, they get to come in and spend the night in the cage.
Many books that when we moved from Fairbanks to Houston, guess what happened? We set the record on moving day for the number of boxes and weight in the same day.
And that was just the dog in a box. So
there's a dog in the box. Okay. Well, let's go off. Let's get on with the show, everyone. There are so many things we'd like to talk about tonight's podcast, but many of them were not allowed by your friendly YouTube censors. So let's see what we can start with. Well, maybe we can talk about Scott Adams. Scott Adams. Can't talk about that. Oh, let's talk about the U.S. Department of Energy coming out with finding that COVID escaped from a China. Oh, can't talk about that either. I know. Let's talk about Woody Harrelson on Saturday Night Live. Woody got a little salty about that big thing that happened 3 years ago. You know the thing. Anyway, notice how quiet the crowd gets in this sanitized for your protection clip.
And I will warn you, this is a long clip. It's 1 minute and 37. So if you want me to pause so we can talk about what he's saying, I can do that. So here it is.
Where was I? Yeah, okay, no. So 3 years ago, Central Park, Sunday morning, the Lord's Day. Trying to resist the temptation to puff too early in the day. Of course, I succumbed. Like a lot of people, I have a devil on one shoulder, and on the other shoulder, I have a larger, more frightening devil.
And of course, he's talking about his tendency to imbibe in weed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is perfectly fine. We don't have to beep that to be on YouTube.
And there's a battle going on in here, you know. I'm just saying that I am many different things: anarchist, Marxist, ethical, hedonist, non-discriminatory impact,
And the New Yorkers cheer Marxism.
epistemological deconstructionist, Texan. But back to the tree in Central Park in that script. Put yourselves in my place. Lay the curve of your neck against the roots of the tree. What kind of tree was it? I mean, what kind of trees they have in Central Park? Oh, yeah, it was a palm tree. So, lay your head on the palm, fire up a hooter from Jeremy, and start reading. Okay, so the movie goes like this. The biggest drug cartels in the world get together and buy up all the media and all the politicians and force all the people in the world to stay locked in their homes, and people can only come out if they take the cartel's drugs and keep taking them over and over. I threw the script away. I mean, who is gonna believe that crazy idea being to do drugs?
So you could hear the uncomfortable silence when he got to his big punchline that he'd been building to. For like 4 minutes, he'd been building up to that.
Okay. And that was it?
That was it, but he said that on Saturday Night Live.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And, you know, and to think, it was probably, it might have been his dad who killed Kennedy. Oh, wait. That'll get us banned for sure by YouTube.
Totally. Well, didn't his dad actually kill like some judge in Texas? I thought he did go to jail for that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But I believe there was a rumor that he was one of the people who may have been in on the assassination of President John Fitzgerald Kennedy. I mean, allegedly.
I know he was probably. I think he was a suspect, and the conspiracy theorists, you know, are all over that too.
So Tara Braid asked the question, why are you beeping this? It wasn't beeped or censored on SNL. So
right, because the things you can say on SNL, you can't say on YouTube. And we've already gotten 1 strike. That alone could have gotten us 2 more strikes and banned completely from YouTube. And honestly, I would like to leave YouTube on our own terms.
Yep.
And as I said in the pre-podcast, we had been thinking about moving to Odyssey anyway.
Yep.
So, but we just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yep, that Odyssey is where all the cool kids are.
Yeah.
And we can say whatever the
exactly, and there's no censorship on Odyssey. You know, I never thought that living in the United States that would be a thing I would have to worry about. Having to be careful about what I said in regards to news reporting and commentary. That I could be censored and lose my ability to do that. And as long as it wasn't any of the 7 dirty words, which are fine with YouTube.
Yeah. And these are actually sourced stories that, you know, from the Department of Energy, which, by the way, because the Department of Energy talked maybe about an unspecified disease having an origin in an unspecified location in an unspecified
And I'm pretty sure
country.
we're not can't talk about that on YouTube.
Well, and because of that, the Wall Street Journal was listed by Wikipedia as being a fringe resource.
Right, and the Department of Energy.
Yep. So, Mark, are you still with us?
I am.
So, do you think Harrelson's dad had anything to do with Kennedy?
I have no idea.
I
have no idea, but I'd read a book a few years back, maybe even a little bit further than that, called Fry the Brain, and it was discussing urban sniping, and the guy that wrote it, I assume he was an expert in urban sniping, but he'd done one of the chapters towards the end of the book was an analysis of the JFK assassination, and his conclusion was that there had to have been multiple shooters. So.
Yep. There is a book out there by the author's name is John Ross. It's called Unintended Consequences, and I recommend it to everyone. When it came out, I gave it as Christmas presents to all my friends, and it's now worth, I think, over $300 as a hardback copy. So that was one of the biggest Christmas gifts I ever gave.
Oh my gosh, my wife went ballistic over the cover.
Yeah, it's a great cover. Anyway. Unintended Consequences, great book, and you know, talking about censorship, I just lost my train of thought. Let's go on to the commercial classics.
And now, Bombs and Bants presents classic novels, the woke version. Tonight, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's A Study in Scarlet.
"How are you?" they said cordially, gripping their hand with a strength for which they should hardly have given them credit. "You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. How on earth did you know that?" they asked in astonishment. "Never mind," said they, chuckling to themselves. "The question now is about hemoglobin. No doubt you see the significance of this discovery of mine. It is interesting, chemically, no doubt," they answered, "but practically, why, man, it is the most practical medico-legal discovery for years. Don't you see that it gives us an infallible test for blood stains? Come over here now. They seized them by the coat sleeve in their eagerness, and drew them over to the table at which they had been working. Let us have some fresh blood, they said, digging a long bodkin into their finger, and drawing off the resulting drop of blood in a chemical pipette. Now, I add this small quantity of blood to a liter of water. You perceive that the resulting mixture has the appearance of pure water. The proportion of blood cannot be more than 1 in a million. I have no doubt, however, that we shall be able to obtain the characteristic reaction.
This has been Classic Novels, the woke version. We hope you appreciated the updated version of this classic piece of literature. We now return you to your regularly scheduled podcast.
I think the next
Yes,
time we do that, we need to do like a Harlequin romance or something. I worry we might have put our audience to sleep with that one.
Well, yes, and
No, books I didn't read in high school.
Z's very happy about it.
Z is very happy about that. No, but so you look at the woke books, and this isn't the next story, but I just want to note, recently they've begun going, the publishers, have been going through their back catalog of books and have been editing the absolute hell out of them to remove non-PC phrases, like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, Roald Dahl's been the most recent one to fall into that.
Yeah. Hey, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the movie star.
Well, they're going after the original James Bond novels too.
Absolutely are, and they're going through and removing offensive terms. So I pick Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory because my brother Gene Wilder was starred in it. Okay, he's not my brother; he's my cousin. Okay, he's not my cousin at all because his name isn't Wilder either. But I'll note that when we go through that and look at that, they're removing terms that describe absolute truth. The fat kid, they can no longer describe as fat. Ugly people are no longer described as ugly. So what's next, Mark?
The Bible.
The Bible? Yeah. Oh my. The woke version of that would be about 3 pages long. The missus?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on going through and censoring history?
Well, I find it funny that, I've just been seeing all the lefties of recent talking about, well, if they want to ban a book, that should be something you should absolutely read. And the things they're talking about are things like Catcher in the Rye and Huckleberry Finn. But of course, who is the wants to ban Huckleberry Finn? It's not conservatives.
That's correct.
Who are the book banners in 2023? It's not conservatives.
And it just turns out that all of Scott Adams' books are now been unpersoned. So if you got a copy of those in your library, that's a winner.
Well, and the thing that they bring up about that, of course, is the state of Florida. Because you can't read hardcore gay romance books in second grade. That's what they're upset about.
I know.
Maybe they should be age appropriate. I'm just saying. And that's what the law said too. It didn't say, there was no "don't say gay" in that law at all.
Hey, as far as NAMBLA is concerned, they are age appropriate.
Absolutely. And that's where that's headed. I mean, we've joked about that before, but that's the next thing, right? Because they're not pedos anymore. They're, what do they call them? MAPs, minor attracted people.
Yep.
See, it's just like being gay.
Normalizing it.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, we got a long bit coming up next.
Well, there will always have wood chippers.
Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, I tip my hat to the new Constitution. In May 2022, Fulton County, Georgia District Attorney Fannie T. Wills, really? Convened a
Actually, I
grand
think her
jury.
name is Fawny.
That's even stupider.
Yeah.
To see if there was any crime.
But she had a large
crime
Yeah.
that could be prosecuted regarding President Donald J. Trump's phone call to Attorney General Brad. In a grand jury, there is no defense attorney. It's made up of 16 to 23 adults, and it only hears what the prosecutor has to say. So it's the testimony is generally supposed to be kept secret, and the result doesn't have to be unanimous. It just has to be, I believe, just a a majority.
The Department of Justice says only 12 jurors have to agree, and there's
but
somewhere between.
That's federal. That's federal.
Yeah, right.
Not state. So grand jury members are not to talk about their deliberations in public. Enter 30-year-old Emily Kors. She has served as a foreman of the jury and has since been basking in the warm glow of all the TV lights from the news media. Here's a part of her interview with MSNBC.
Did the grand jury recommend an indictment of former President Trump? I'm not going to speak on exact indictments. Would we be surprised? Are there bombshells of who is being recommended for indictment? I don't think that there are any giant plot twists coming.
And just watch her expression in this.
Giant. That's not the way I expected this to go at all. I don't think that's in store for anyone.
It's like she's an 8th grade girl saying, I know you like him, but do you like him?
Oh, she looks like an idiot. So does the CNN clip add anything to it?
Yeah, I think it does.
Well, play the CNN clip.
After everything that you've seen, what would your reaction be if the DA decides against bringing any charges after what you've seen?
I will be sad if nothing happens. Like that's about my only request there is for something to happen. I don't necessarily know what it is. I'm not the legal expert. I'm not the judge. I'm not the lawyers, but I will be frustrated if nothing happens. This was too much information, too much of my time, too much of everyone's time, too much of their time, too much argument in court about getting people to appear before us. There was just too much for this to just be, oh, okay, we're good, bye.
It took so much of my time, someone ought to be going to jail.
I just want to note that Jim Wetzel has already voted for number 2 in the Braying Jackass award. Just noting. Mark, do you think she's actually a part bird human with that face? Have we lost Mark?
He might have just fell asleep. Let me see if Mark is there. Oh no, we've put Mark to sleep.
So I guess I'll put that question to you, the missus.
I'm having technical difficulties.
Okay.
I think that's a drink for everyone, isn't it, when we have to discuss technical issues?
All right.
I have no idea what happened. It just suddenly got all garbled in the middle of that last clip you were showing, and then it crashed and rebooted my Zoom.
The very internet was offended by the stupidity of that young woman's statements. The people on the jury voted her the foreman. So a little more background on her. So she's 30 years old. She's a customer service rep who is currently between jobs, and she's never voted.
And her name is Emily Kors, but when I tried to type her name out for the notes that I have, I kept typing it on my computer as HOHRS. Horse. Yeah, horse. We'll go with horse. Anyway, moving along. More and more, it seems we live in a pay-to-play world, and authorities in Lake County, Illinois, learned a hard lesson in that last week. A 34-year-old woman arrived at her home in the afternoon, taking one child out of her car, leaving the other for the jackals of the street, and into the house, leaving her 2-year-old son in that car seat. When she returned, the second boy, moments later, she was approached by a man who had knocked her to the ground and stole her 2021 Volkswagen Atlas with their young son still inside. The Newsbot has the rest of the story.
Authorities contacted Volkswagen CarNet, a service that allows Volkswagen owners to control and track their cars from an app, to find the car and the child inside. But the company refused to track the vehicle until they received payment to reactivate the tracking device in the stolen Volkswagen. Fortunately, authorities later found the child, unharmed, wandering alone in a parking lot some 10 miles from his home. The boy's mother was run over in the carjacking and remains hospitalized in serious but stable condition.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you have not upped your subscription. I cannot give you the information of where your child is until then. My name is Peggy.
Yeah. The only thing more insulting than that would have been the little thing that comes up, pops up, and goes, "I'm sorry, you seem to be using ad blocker. You can't use this app until you disable that in your browser."
Mark, does your car have ad blocker?
No, my car is so old it doesn't have any technology. I have to put my feet down through the floor and sort of, try to get a running start to get it to coast everywhere.
Just like a Fred Flintstone mobile.
Exactly.
You can always tell it's Mark driving down the street because you hear him go, "Yabba dabba doo."
Don't spare the spare ribs. Well, yeah, it is a brave new world. If you Tadano Hito notes his car runs on Linux, and Tim Turner asked the police didn't pony up the fee.
Hey, they're on a budget, man.
Right, you are. All right, so moving right along. If you are a fan of Top Gear or the Grand Tour, you likely know who Jeremy Clarkson is. So if you don't, here's the recap. The 62-year-old Brit co-starred on both the British Car Show and has since moved along to his own reality show on Amazon called Clarkson's Farm, where he farms. It's a really good show. In the show, he and his girlfriend moved to a quiet country village, bought a farm they named Diddley Squat, and commenced farming. After the fallout has been quite hilarious. Here's a clip from season 1.
It's got the wrong hitch on.
What?
That's a European hitch.
What's the matter? I got it from Germany.
You may well have done.
So I can't attach anything to the back of this?
Not at the moment.
Because he bought a Lamborghini tractor.
Yep, that was because it was a Lamborghini.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it was too big for his barn. And there's a lot of it's green acreish, but in Britain. But if Oliver Wendell Holmes was also kind of a jerk, I think that's a fair way to put it. He's also had his run-ins with the local city council. Now it seems that some unknown culprit has changed the sign outside his farm.
So it used to have an arrow pointing to Diddley Squat. Is that way? Here's what it says now. And my feeling on this is when he saw that, you know what he said?
Brilliant.
Hammond!
No, come on. As much as I've seen of Jeremy Clarkson, he probably thought that was just a riot.
Sometimes my genius is... It's almost frightening.
He might have done that himself. Have you watched Jeremy Clarkson in any of those incarnations, Mark?
No, I haven't. I know you'd suggested it before, recommended it before, but I never got around to it. Now he's been canceled, I guess.
Right, because he said mean things about Meghan Markle.
Yeah, which...
In the grand tradition of Brits everywhere, right?
Yes, right. Yeah. Well, and in fact, it wasn't West Oxfordshire. It is, what is it? Cotswold. And Tadano, I did send them a nasty note. So I just let you know, I did send them a nasty note. So there's some Brit who read my paragraphs, calling them a bunch of twits. Do you have an ugly dog? Well, you have a fat dog and a beanbag.
We have a fat dog, which we have demonstrated earlier.
Mark, do you have an ugly dog?
Oh, no. No, actually, I have a very nice husky.
Okay. So then neither one of you need to sign up for the 2023 World's Ugliest Dog Contest in Petaluma, California. It's specifically designed for dogs who are so ugly. Well, here's a clip from the 2020, the 2015 version.
27 ugly mutts were shown off at the event in Petaluma, California, with over 500 spectators ready to cheer on the underdogs. Judges scored the entrants based on their first impression, unusual attributes, natural ugliness, personality, and audience reactions. Despite some strong entries, the title eventually went to a hunchback dog named Quasimodo, who's owned by Virginia Sayer from Florida.
I'd heard about this, and I was planning on entering Lori Lightfoot now that she's not going to be mayor any longer.
Well, okay. I had
Just make sure that you keep her on a leash so she doesn't urinate on anyone in the crowd.
I had a joke written about that, and guess what? Ugly Dog Dash Lori Lightfoot, mayor of Chicago, and so yeah, we were both going the same place.
Oh, awesome!
A dog fit for Beetlejuice. All right.
Well, anyway, if you do know someone or you yourself have an ugly dog eligible for that concert, here's the thing that bothered me about that, right? So the dog that won in that clip, that was from 2015. But I was looking at other video clips from last summer, and they did a special clip on that particular dog, and the people who own the dog said, this is the first time we've taken the dog to the contest, which was just a bald-faced lie. Because that dog won in 2015. Surely there can't be two dogs that look exactly like that, owned by a veterinarian in Florida. What would be the coincidence of that, right?
Indeed. All right.
Although if you are an FBI agent working in the FBI here in the U.S., you might go, that sounds completely believable to me.
All righty.
Was that unfair?
No, to the ATF, however, wait. Okay. That's why you can't have the ATF there at a dog show. They just shot them all. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to National Politigraphic Explorer.
This is National Politigraphic Explorer, and I'm your host, Sir David Richardborough, or Sir Richard David. Anyway, today we will be in the wild, tracking the modern progressive in its natural habitat. The modern progressive has seen its numbers grow exponentially in recent years due to a number of factors, including their predilection for random breeding and an abundance of blue hair dye. They have moved out of the faculty lounge and their parents' basements and into environments equally conducive to echo chambers and groupthink. While they may sometimes be seen outdoors, it is a rare treat to catch a glimpse of them outside of the local coffee shop or their overpriced Manhattan bungalow due to their natural aversion to sunlight and work. If you look closely, you can see one just over there. Listen to its shrill call. Perhaps we can lull it out of its timidity by using a progressive call. Stalin was a communist.
Stalin was authoritarian. True communism's never been tried.
The modern progressive rarely travels alone. Other members of its flock must remain hidden nearby. Let's try another call, and perhaps we may draw out more of its ilk. There are only two genders.
Science denier! Science denier!
Ah, yes. Let's see what happens when we use the mating call, the modern progressive. My body, my choice.
Wait, are we talking about abortions or vaccines? Never mind.
The modern progressive. What a treat it has been to see them in their natural environment, when they truly let the mask slip and say the quiet part out loud. I'm Sir David Richard David Burrow. I'm Sir Richard David Richard Burrow, and this has been National Politigraphic Explorer.
Wow, we've been like kind of educational tonight. We had Masterpiece Theater and now
good.
National Politigraphic Explorer.
Well, let's just, you know what? We've been high, so let's go low. Time for the Braying Jackass of the week.
This is Neil Young.
Hey, get that jackass out of here!
And I'm proud to present my Braying Jackass of the week.
Resident Brandon Magoo was at home this week at a White House reception celebrating Black History Month when he said this.
And by the way, I'm not, I may be a white boy, but I'm not stupid.
Okay. Candidate number
fact check, you're both.
Candidate number 2 is Vice President Kneepads O'Harris, who also spoke at the same event. Here is part of what she said.
A history that helps us to understand how the past has influenced the present and potentially our future. And let us all be clear, we will not as a nation build a better future for America by trying to erase America's past.
I'm sorry, who was it who was tearing down statues a couple years ago? Who was that?
I know. And,
Trump supporters, that's who it was.
But I'm going back to the Babylon Bee joke that her scriptwriter is a 6-year-old. Because she's... or maybe God. Or maybe all right. Number 3.
It is the passage of time that reminds us that time passes. And it's only through the time passages that we can appreciate the passage of time. It belongs on a sampler.
Is big.
It is a thing we were doing, and we need to keep doing the thing every day.
Yep. So Joe Biden, we have a third candidate tonight. Brandon Magoo, again at the same event after he was introduced by the Veep.
Well, thank you for that introduction. I want to thank Doug and Kamala. Jill, my wife, her husband. You all think I'm kidding.
No one thought you were kidding. We all know that Jill is your wife and you're her husband. That's how it works. But the funny thing about that, right, is that he thanks Kamala and her husband, Doug Emhoff. Doug Emhoff was not there. However, standing on the dais with Kamala and Joe was this young man in the middle who is a high school student from Chicago whose name is Dwayne Portis. Do you think Joe thought Dwayne Portis was Kamala's husband? Does it kind of seem like that? Do you want to hear that clip again?
Go ahead.
Well, thank you for that introduction. I want to thank Doug and Kamala. Jill, my wife, her husband. You all think I'm kidding.
Because young Mr. Portis there spoke first. He spoke before the vice president and introduced her. And then this entire time has been standing next to the vice president as Joe's taking the podium there. So I think that he thinks Dwayne Portis, who is like 16, 17 years old, is Kamala Harris's husband.
So Jim has been voting for number 2, Mark. What are your thoughts? And I think we have technical difficulty, Mark, out again. So Jim,
I'm no. I'm going to vote for Harris.
It is unanimous for Vice President Kamala Kneepads Harris winning the Braying Jackass of the week.
Kamala is just so hard to beat.
Well,
it's almost unfair.
Now, keep in mind that Brandon Magoo did say on Wednesday that half of the women in his administration are women.
That's good to know. That would make the other half what?
We don't know.
I guess not. All right. Kamala takes it again. Every time she's up, she wins it. We really have to send her something.
Yes, indeed.
She is impossible to beat. And this has been Neil Young's Braying Jackass of the Week.
So I've got to ask, did you have time to bring up that sounder I was looking for?
Yes, I do.
Okay. We don't need it quite yet, but it is time for...
Oh, I was asleep there for a minute because I was looking for the sounder.
Think real fast.
Think real fast. And Lori Lightfoot, daughter of Beetlejuice, is no longer mayor in Chicago. First mayor to lose in Chicago by 40 years. Mark, is it because she's actually a half-fish person like in a Lovecraftian tale?
I had thought about that, but yeah, that could explain it.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say that she was a half-wit.
She's such an idiot!
Oh, no,
We're not talking about Kamala anymore.
No, your question is coming up later. Okay.
Okay.
On her. But I will note, and people who are listening to our pregame show heard that beginning January 1st, 2023, the following offenses are non-detainable in Illinois: aggravated battery, aggravated DUI, aggravated fleeing, arson, burglary, drug-induced homicide, intimidation, kidnapping, robbery, second-degree murder, and threatening a public official. So, Lori Lightfoot's not responsible for that, but you might want to think about even stepping foot in Illinois. The missus, your question on the Lori Lightfoot question.
Yes.
Is it because she has the beady dead eyes of a sideshow carny who has seen too many innocent townsfolk buried in shallow graves? Not that that's oddly specific for a question, but
It is not oddly specific at all. No.
Is that why she lost?
She's such an idiot!
It might have to do with all of the going on in Chicago.
Well, and that probably is it. It probably is the violence in Chicago. So let's move on to number 2. Crazy C has vowed that if he doesn't get our stuff, American men and women will die in his war. The missus? Is he threatening us?
Are you threatening me?
So is he threatening us?
I said this last week. I think we have troops in country, and not just the special forces guys who are there now, and we all know that, right? But I think they're there by August.
You think that we're there by August in force?
Mm-hmm.
And this is actually a serious think real fast, Mark. If Zelensky and Lori Lightfoot were on the TV show Survivor, who would win the immunity idol?
Is this mic on?
I'm gonna say that Zelensky would probably win, just because he'd probably kill and eat Lori Lightfoot.
Are you threatening me?
Apparently it's still too early to vote Zelensky off the island. I will note.
Oh, wait, you know what Mark just mentioned?
Massive cannibalism.
Yes.
Oh, Shia LaBeouf, where are you when we need you? So I will note this on Ukraine, with your guess of boots on the ground by August. Apparently, the recruiting is going horrible for the military, and this is spontaneous.
That's weird.
Yeah, and so I was reading just yesterday about a gentleman who had gotten out of the armed forces, and a recruiter called him up trying to re-enlist him. And he's like, no, I'm not going back. And the recruiter cried because it had been a year since she'd gotten any recruits.
Wow.
No one. It's amazing. Is it possible that when you tell the entire recruiting corps of people who would like to join the military that they're horrible, awful people, that maybe they won't join your military anymore?
No, I think it's the high heels. The male members they're just not used to the high heels and running in them, trying to go through those obstacle courses. This is where the woke military leadership has brought us to to people that can't even get through the obstacle course because the heels keep on sinking into the ground.
But the camo bustiers are quite fetching.
And on a bright note, Jim Wessel notes that none of that may matter because chances are all too good that most of the Northern Hemisphere will die in this war. So, there's a bright side to everything.
It's probably nothing to worry about.
It's, everyone worries about the nuclear weapons and stuff. It's going to be the global warming that kills us.
The only solution for that is more communism. All right, ready? 10 soldiers and dead bees coming. Chemical cloud in Ohio. Mark?
That's probably nothing.
Why have I not learned yet to never sing?
Narcissism.
I'm singing. I'm in a store and I'm singing. I'm in a store and I'm singing.
Hey! There's no singing in the North Pole.
Yes, there is.
No, it's not.
We sing all the time.
No, it's not.
Especially when we make toys.
You let Will Ferrell finish.
So this is a true story. So I used to blog in the basement, and recently I moved it upstairs. There's reasons for it. But anyway, the missus said to me, she came to me on the morning after I'd blogged, and sometimes I'm up till 2, 3 in the morning blogging.
And drinking. That's the important part of this story.
Well, that's called writing juice.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm there, and it's the morning, and I'm getting ready to go to work, and she says, don't mind you writing in there. Don't mind you listening to the TV. Do mind you singing. That was genius. Oh, I'm so bad. Okay. Mark, the real actual question is, how much love does Neil Young deserve for derailing that train in Ohio?
All the love that everyone that's ever used chemical weapons deserves.
There you go. Do you think Neil Young did it, or do you think maybe, I don't know, the Russians did it for perhaps us blowing up their pipeline?
No, I think the CIA was behind it.
Okay. The missus. The trains have had so many derailments this year. Is it hard to keep track?
Oh, is it hard to keep track?
Well, I mean, that's not a bad joke.
Yeah. No, not at all.
All right. Back to Bombs and Bants' favorite billionaire tycoon, Elon. When I typed ELONG. So Musk is planning on creating his own AI chatbot because the other chatbots that are being created the people are programming to be woke. All right, Mark, who are you rooting for in the coming AI chatbot cyber war?
I am going to vote for R2D2.
And why?
Because nothing that he says can be used to fake a dissertation.
There you go. I like that. It's all beeps and boops. That's safer. Jim Wetzel.
Don't you always kind of wonder why oh crap, what were they called? The evil guys in Star Wars. It's been so long since I've cared. Why they always built everything in their ship so they had ports compatible with R2D2? Why did they do that?
That's just USB-D.
Everything runs Windows in the future.
Yes. The missus on this story. If Elon Musk had a male enhancement pill, would it be called Elongates?
It should be. That's a good idea.
And Tadano Hito notes, it'd be USB-D2. All right. The last story of Think Real Fast. Senators are looking to move the Social Security age to 70 now. Mark, will it even buy a burger when you're 72?
I sincerely doubt I'll ever collect anything for Social Security, despite how much they've collected from me.
That's a good point. Mrs., are you ready to work forever while I drink Mai Tais on the beach?
Well, I'm probably going to have to. I mean,
beach in the backyard.
Yeah. We'll have to go buy some sand first. No, there is sand back there.
Yeah.
The cat really enjoys that.
Yes, for multiple reasons.
Yes.
Apparently the cat just loves the sand. All right. I myself would like to tell the kids a joke about Social Security, but they probably won't get it.
How dare
All right. All right. On that note, thank you, everyone, for coming to Bombs and Bants and Wednesday Rants. I am your dedicated and humble host, John Wilder, and I want to say thank you again because I just keep saying thank you.
And you're stalling for time.
Well, yeah, because I'm going to turn it over to Mark now.
Okay. I'm your less dedicated host, Mark.
But he's here even when he comes running in, screaming around the corner. And I, of course, on the sound, and flubbing my line, am the missus. Y'all come back now, you hear?